Welcome to the RSR Asphalt Assault Series. Tonight we find ourselves at the Texas Motor Speedway in a points battle that is heating up. One of the stories for tonight is actually the debut of the Ford Mustang Nationwide car. Now, as the drivers move out on the track right now, getting ready for qualifying, a lot of cars in this field running the new Ford Mustang. And the Ford Mustang is identical to the Chevrolet Impala that we do have in this series, but certainly a new look, a new flavor, and a lot of new paint schemes out in tonight's race. But as we look,
the difference between the two cars is definitely going to be the fact that the Mustang just looks really sharp. I think it's going to be quick just for that reason. Drivers have got a different car on the racetrack, something new, something interesting. Everybody loves the B car. Everybody loves this Nationwide car. Now they have another version of it, which is really cool to see out on the racetrack, and I'm excited to see them going by here at Texas Motor Speedway. And
certainly the competition in this Asphalt Assault Series, brought to you by Inside Sim Racing, has been pretty crazy. It is a two-horse race, two-car battle heading into these final three events. And certainly the story has to be the 24 car of Stefan Marinak as well as the 7 of Bobby Terrell. Right now they are separated by 10 points. Bobby Terrell with 10 wins on the year, Stefan Marinak with 9 wins on the year. So that's a combined 19 wins out of the 33 starts that we have, and these drivers heading into the final 3 races, pretty much a heads-up battle is shaping up at the moment.
Yeah, that's extremely interesting. I mean, the battle, if you remember a while ago, it was like a 50-point lead. It was getting up there quite a bit. Marinak was pulling away, but you see over the last little bit, it seems like Terrell has finally run him down. He's there. He's within striking distance, I do believe here.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell had a lot of ground to make up, and he made up most of it. Actually got to the points lead, but then a rough finish at Talladega, a near win at New Hampshire just a few weeks ago, where Bobby Terrell was really kicking himself, lost a race on strategy that he really dominated. And so both of these drivers, when we come to a place like Texas, both show a lot of speed on these 1.5-mile speedways. And so really, it's anyone's guess as to who could take the win tonight. It'll come down to who could execute the best.
And when you want to talk about last week, a wreck at Talladega, last week it was Marinak, his rival, that actually came away with the win after starting from the second position there.
Yeah, last week Bobby Terrell got caught up in an early incident, had to fight back with damage all race long, and in retrospect he was able to salvage 7 out of a damaged race car, working with Rich Jett as his tandem partner. And in a 30-car field where you wreck out early on, and some of the guys that you wrecked with ended up 29th, 30th, 28th, he has to feel like he dodged a bullet. It could have been a lot worse for Bobby Terrell last week.
Yeah, and I do want to say that Marinak, he was really strong. But if we look back here, let's look back really quickly. The last 1.5 mile or close to that was Charlotte. It was Charlotte race. It was 107 laps, and we tried to load that up here so I could see. Stefan Marinak ran away with the win after leading 88 laps, but Bobby Terrell came home second, leading 15 laps. So these guys, constantly 1-2. You look at these guys at the 1.5 mile tracks. I think this is going to be an interesting race. Texas Motor Speedway, it is actually rather slick for the drivers, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they hang on and exactly who's able to run away or what happens here.
Yeah, this is a track that's sort unpredictable. It seems like every build or every season that we come to Texas, the feeling of the cars tends to change a little bit. I would say this time I was able to try the car out just a few moments ago. Spoke to a couple of drivers that are in this race, and most of all, I'm hearing a lot of people complain about just a lot of tightness on corner entry. It's just very difficult to get these cars to the bottom and keep them there. Meanwhile, you can get these cars really loose on exit, and I think the trouble spot for looseness is probably the exit of turn number 4. And so with these nationwide cars, not as much power as the Cup cars, and so you really try to just muscle these cars around the track and just keep momentum and be smooth. And it's actually looking at qualifying right now, Nathan Bowers just lost it out of turn number 4 right on cue, as we talked about just how slick the turn 4 exit is.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, this track is so line sensitive. I was in a test session the other day with a group of guys. We were working together, trying out Texas Motor Speedway and the nationwide cars before this event. It's really line sensitive. You got to get on the brakes a little bit going into one. You got to get it down or it won't turn, and you got to be careful with sliding off the corner. But it is now time to go down trackside for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
We are now back here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Drivers going through the drivers' meeting, getting set to take the green flag in just a little over 2 minutes, 10 seconds just about, is when we will begin rolling off to go around for a pace lap. We'll take the green flag after that. Looking at qualifying so far, the 7 of Bobby Terrell leads the way. Marinac sits in the 4th position. I do believe Jose Gonzalez up there in 2nd in the 26 machine. Marinac led practice where Terrell was 3rd, which is kind of swapping how they qualified there.
Yeah, certainly the pressure is on when you lead practice to be able to back up that time. Marinac not able to do that, runs about a 10th slower than he did in practice. Opposite end of the coin, Bobby Terrell backed up what he ran in practice, actually ran 3,000ths of a second faster. And a lot of times you could come into practice come into qualifying 3rd in practice, and if you're able to back up that time, it'll usually be good enough to put you on the pole.
When it comes to backing up that time, the hard part about it is consistency. You can go out there run all the laps you want in practice. You usually get faster, but you only get one shot at it qualifying. Usually the first time you go out in the session, even if after it's just changed from practice to qualifying, most drivers slow down. I slow down usually on my first attempt, and it usually takes a second or third attempt to actually get it right, get the line right, get the lap time. And I think that's what we saw there was maybe Marinak just didn't get the lap time right. He didn't go out and he could not do it the first time. Needed a second or third attempt, and he didn't have that.
Yeah, the good thing for Marinak is that he is in the top 5 still, so he's right there, but this gives a big advantage to Bobby Terrell to jump out there, obviously controlling the start of the race, hopefully able to lead the first lap for his team, and so it's an advantage for Terrell to try to make up some ground. Obviously 10 points to make up, and Jose Gonzalez up there as well as Chad Coleman. Both of those drivers not in the points. Jose is actually somewhere possibly in the top 10 in points. He hasn't run all the races, but he's been a spoiler. Meanwhile, Chad Coleman only making his third or fourth start in the series, a former DWC driver, the NASCAR Racing Drivers World Championship, which has changed names a few times. In fact, I think it's called the Series World Championship or something at this point, but a lot of good competition here. Mike Shelton, currently 5th in the order, has been really competitive these last couple of weeks as he's run these RSR Asphalt Assault races. And so, won't be long. The drivers will be on the grid shortly, and then we'll sort it out on the racetrack.
And you talked about Jose Gonzalez. He sits 16th in the points. But now drivers are now getting onto the grid. It's time to go down and go trackside for the command. Now with your starting grid, Bobby Terrell is going to roll off with the pole like we mentioned, and Jose Gonzalez is going to roll off second with a 29.654, half a tenth slower than the pole sitter.
Row number 2, we've got a pair of Fords. That's the number 6 of Chad Coleman alongside the number 24, Stefan Marinak.
How about Mike Shelton rolling off 5th in the 34 machine, and on his outside, the 4 of CJ LeVere.
Starting 7th, number 18, Hollis Vanderloon, alongside of him, the number 38 of Mark Bratcher.
Brian Harvey going to roll off 9th in his 66 machine with the 11 of Stephen Maddox on his outside.
Starting 11th will be the number 16 of Marvin Turnmeyer Jr. Starting 12th, number 81, Stephen Almendo.
How about John Abbott rolling off 13th in the 10 machine with a double 0? Mike Perry rolling off 14th.
Starting 15th will be the number 15. That's Rhett McBride. Starting 16th alongside of him, the number 5 of AJ Browning.
How about row number 9, the 17 in 17th position, the 77 of Jay Randall Watkins on his outside, the 09 of John Ellers.
Starting 19th will be the 57 of Barry Hines. Alongside him, the number 48, Frank Coons.
Row number 11, starting 21st as the field is now rolling, is the 33 machine of David Lanza on his outside, the 78 of Keith Brooks Jr.
The inside of row number 12 will be the number 44 of Glenn Campbell. Outside of him, the number 43 of Doug Roth.
Nathan Bauer is going to roll off 25th in the number 03 machine. How about Douglas Wyatt rolling off 26th in the 12. John Wilco in the 62 will roll off 27th. He rounds out the field here as we get set to go green flag racing for 135 laps at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and these drivers coming through the pace lap, some of them warming their tires, certainly want to have a little bit of grip, maybe wanting to heat them up so that it's not a little bit too slick entering turn number 1. But a nice, a solid as we looked through the lineup. A lot of Fords in this race. I'll have to get an official count, but I think we have about 10 of them. And so nice to see a lot of these guys choosing the Mustang, the first race out. Bobby Terrell up there leading the field, that number 7 car, going to take the green flag just a few short moments and try to get away from this field. But we'll have to see just what kind of charge the number 24 Marinette can mount, as 10 points ahead of Terrell, and he wants to get up there and race for that win.
Make sure you hit your marks. Make sure you make it into one. Make sure you turn right. Make sure you get the right marks. Again, here we go. And the leader's away. Green flag is out at Texas Motor Speedway. Bobby Terrell's going to take us to the green flag. Gets a good jump, moves up and down, and he is away. Clear. He's pulling away from the field now.
Yeah, the number 6 at Chad Coleman, who started third, got a great start. A lot of times that outside front row just not able to get going as they try to react to the leader. And so a lot of times at these tracks you'll see the guy in third really benefit, and it's almost like you want to be third rather than second should you be on a restart. So Chad Coleman right now working his way loose out of turn number 4. Quite the wiggle, but the 6 car currently in second. Also Mike Shelton in that number 34 able to gain 2 spots on the start of the race up to third, and Stefan Marinette qualified 4th, able to get in front of the outside front row as Jose Gonzalez.
Terrell had a little bit of a gap on the 6. The 6 closes it off at 2. I think Terrell slid just a little bit, looking back to third position. It is Marinac actually in 4th, looking for the 3rd position. He's sliding up a little bit off of 4, trying to get a good run on, I do believe that is Mike Shelton. It is. He's falling back, but everybody's kind of spacing out a little bit here. As CJ Lavere, he sits in 6th position. He has got a pretty good gap, but coming back fairly quickly to the 38, who was a little up the racetrack, just slowed up the 18 maybe just a little bit there.
Yeah, Mark Bratcher with a solid qualifying run. Mark Bratcher is a driver, the driver of that 38 car has had some just dreadful luck the last couple of weeks. He's one of our chase drivers in the Full Throttle Cup Series here at RSR. He's the number 4 of CJ Lavere, quite the wiggle coming out of turn number 4, able to hold on to it. As you could tell, with these drivers trying to keep that momentum up, that just the slightest bobble can really just hurt. I think we have a problem entering turn number 1. I don't believe the caution is out yet, but the number 16 hard into the inside wall.
Yeah, this I see an incident here that starts off 4 with the number 00 of Mike Perry and the 16 of Marvin Turnmeyer Jr. They were 12th and 13th, I do believe. Off of turn number 4 into the tri-oval, I believe Marvin Turnmeyer Jr. gets a little loose. It comes down on that 00, and they both find themselves into the grass.
Yeah, that's a tough break, and the race remains green as both those cars sort of just cleaned themselves down the racetrack and kept themselves on the apron. That's a tough break for the 16. Running a Ford Mustang tonight, the paint scheme is in remembrance of Morgan Schooley, an iRacer who lost his life just, I believe, 2 weeks ago. So that's a tough break, certainly looking for a good run. But turn 4 exit, just a lot of just seems to be really getting these cars. We've seen more than a few cars bobble on the exit of turn number 4. That time, two cars sustaining a lot of damage. I think Mike Perry able to get away without much, but Marvin Turnmeyer taking it behind the wall. Currently actually sitting on pit road looking to fix the damage, but he's got engine problems.
I think the 00, he might have escaped damage-free or fairly close. I mean, he only had contact with the 16. I believe that was it. The 16, however, looked like he had it saved, but then he just went down just a little bit too much, maybe overcorrected, that got the wall, and it was done from there, I think. And you might see him back out way later in the race, but he'll be several laps down. I don't even think he'll be able to contend, with lead lap cars or even some lap down cars. He's probably going to have significant damage slowing him down if he's not done for the day.
Yeah, and I want to take a look at a battle here. The number 66 of Brian Harvey trying to work under the number 30 of Mark Bratcher. Seems to be in most racing going on right around here, around the back end of the top 10. But as you mentioned, the 16 having trouble getting it wound down. A lot of times you get, when you're trying to save that vehicle as it's out of control, it just becomes this endless cycle until you can get the thing really wound down. Just loses all that grip, and the rear tires are heated up from being sideways, and it is just difficult to rein that car in. Mark Bratcher in the 38 seems to be really trying to get that high line working. Takes this huge arc entering turn number 3 in front of Harvey, able to get the exit speed as the 66 being pressured by the 81 of Steven Almindo.
And here's another thing with Bratcher. He knows how to be aggressive, and he knows that if he makes them pass him on the inside, this is a very tight racetrack, especially entering the corner, a little free off, but he'll have more grip if he uses the outside lane. He just, might lose a little bit of speed. He actually has been gaining speed off of turn number 4, but they will have to lift. They will either run into him or have to lift, when they're on the inside. So generally, 9 times out of 10, there is, the 1 time out of 10 where, the wreck happens, but they will lift and they won't be able to make the pass. And I think he knows that. He's just going to hold him up as long as he can. He's going to try to make the outside lane work. You see the 66 back underneath him, and it looks like Bratcher might have got too tight there to hold on to it anymore. 66 is going to clear him, and here comes a whole nother car who is now side by side, door to door with him as they head into 3. It looks like he has got it, and here comes the 11 as well.
Yeah, Stephen Maddox trying to take advantage of that situation as Mark Bratcher gets loose there on the outside, and that will slide him back to the 10th position as Hollis Vanderloon in the 18 pulls up on him. But as we saw last time through 1 and 2 as they were side by side, there's this big bump as you come through 1 and 2, and a lot of times if you don't have that car angled just right, it'll just completely lose the grip of the machine. It'll understeer and you'll be up the track. I think that's exactly what happened to Mark Bratcher last time by. Actually, looking up front again, the number 26 of Jose Gonzalez has rebounded from sliding back to 5th and showing a lot of speed, has driven up to Bobby Terrell, the leader, looking to take that lead shortly. But Jose Gonzalez started 2nd, fell back to 5th, right back up to 2nd, but he swings way wide out of turn number 2. Keeps it off the fence, though. No harm, no foul.
You read my mind. That's what I just turned my sights to just before you said something. The 26 machine, it's Jose Gonzalez, and he's up front again. And you said he fell back to 5th. Might have been saving his stuff. I think you've seen quite a bit of him coming back late in a run, or gambling with fuel, tires sometimes. He's good with the strategy, I think, and that's what the 26 is doing now. He took a kind of a gamble, fell back a few positions on the start, but he was all right with it. He came back, and now he's up front racing for the lead as he gets to the bumper. The 7 looks underneath as they head into turn number 3. They're going to be side by side with the momentum on the 26's side. He's going to clear the 7. 7's going to come down, doesn't want to waste any time, wants to keep as big of a gap between him and the 24 as he can, and they're both going to drive away with the 26 taking over the lead on lap number 14.
Yeah, now Gonzalez leading for the first time today. Now he is confronted with cars handling a little bit different out front. A lot of times you run on one of these bigger speedways, be quite loose out front compared to in traffic. But so far so good for the 26 of Gonzalez. And as you mentioned, a crafty racer, pretty smart, and he has 3 wins on the year out of 20 starts. That's right, he has not showed up to 13 of these, but he does have 3 wins, which I think might be the 3rd most in the series compared to Bobby Terrell, or excuse me, after Bobby Terrell and Stefan Marinak. Not 100% on that little number, but he does have 3 wins out of 20 starts, up to the lead. Meanwhile, Stefan Marinak currently still sitting in 5th, and he was hanging back there for a while, but now he's mounting a charge where he's coming closer. As the 7 looking underneath the 26, trying to get that lead back. And as these two, as the front are side by side, our 2 leaders, that's going to reel the guys in behind them. And it seems like we're having a bit of a 5-car breakaway where the top 5, I believe we're going to see them condense even more here and just become a 5-car pack. Meanwhile, racing farther on, about 2.5, 3 seconds behind them. And so Bobby Terrell back to the lead, wants to lead the most laps by any means necessary as the battle continues as Jose Gonzalez looks back underneath him, goes for the crossover there side by side.
Yeah, Terrell knows he can waste little time. He's got to go down, and he was trying to get around the Jose Gonzalez. He did, but the crossover, that's going to put the 26 back up front. They come off 4, and now it looks like Terrell has to deal with a mirror full of the 6 of Coleman, I do believe, as Chad Coleman has gotten back up to the bumper, and looks like he's falling off a little bit to the turn, but got a little bit lower through 1 and 2. The 7 might have slipped just a little bit coming off, and the 6 is kind of closing, but so is Mike Shelton on the 6, and the 24, don't leave him out. He is here, he is the points leader, and he wants to lead laps and win the race. Behind them, CJ LeBaire has broken away from the cars behind him. That consists of Brian Harvey, Stephen Almendo, Stephen Maddox, and Mark Bratcher, who sits in the 10th position now.
Yeah, a bit of a helpless feeling for CJ LeBaire, because even if his line is perfect, unfortunately the draft with these cars being underpowered compared to the Cup cars, just need a little bit of the draft to carry the speed here around these 1.5 mile speedways. The top 5 all have it, as we see the top 5 nose to tail. That's Gonzalez, Terrell, Coleman, Shelton, and Marinac. Meanwhile, LeBaire, no draft to work with right now, and so he's just going to be riding along in 6th until possibly deeper and deeper into this run. We'll see a little bit more of a split as actually the 4 gets into the wall a little bit, entering turn number 1. A mistake that's really easy to make here. You're trying to get that wide arc before quarter entry, and sometimes on these D-oval tracks, just before you enter turn number 1, catch that wall a little bit.
Yeah, and these are really known for that. I know I've done it quite a bit. You watch the 4. I think he changed his lineup a little bit when he didn't have any draft. He slowed down. The car got a little bit looser because it was a little slower, and I've seen him a little bit, using more of the outside lane, the car like we saw Bratcher doing, and it was working, but his lap times are slower, and I think that's a result of not having that draft like you were talking about. He's a 10th or 2 slower than the leaders consistently. Last time he was just about a 10th slower than the 2 cars in front of him, but the rest of the cars he was 2/10 behind.
Yeah, and Jose Gonzalez, the 26, still out front, but realizing, it's pretty difficult to lead these things with that draft. The 26 is opening the air pockets for everyone behind him, and he's not. The draft that he's getting is simply from any kind of push that he's getting from the cars behind him, and so it's become very clear that it's going to be difficult to hold on to the lead if you are the leader in this race. Your best bet is possibly green flag pit stops and distancing yourself that way to break that draft, as the 26 grabs the apron coming through 3 and 4, but able to hold on to it and not lose very much momentum at all. Good job of saving onto that thing without burning a lot of speed off of it.
Looking back outside the top 10, how about, I do believe Mark Bratcher's just fallen outside the top 10. Rhett McBride moves into the top 10. Hollis Vanderloon, he started in the 7th position, and he has fallen back to the 12th position here in his number 18 machine. AJ Browning sits 13th in the 5 machine. How about David Lanza? He is 14th in the 33, and I believe he is 9 seconds behind the leader, nearly 10 seconds. So he's got a bit of a gap to make up, but he did start, I do believe, 21st, and he's up to 14th, so the 33 machine is moving. His teammate Glenn Campbell sits 15th right behind him in the 44 machine. Those two drafting, trying to make up time. J. Randall Watkins, 77 machine, 16th currently, with John Abbott sitting 17th in the 10. Pretty good gap between those cars, with John Ellers in the 09 machine just behind him. He started 18th. He's running 18th, so no gain, no loss there. Keith Brooks Jr., he started in the 22nd position. He's up to 19th, and rounding out the top 20, Barry Hines in the 57 machine. He runs 20 seconds behind the leader, nearly 21.
Yeah, we're seeing the gaps just get larger and larger. Our top 5 in the race, all within about half of a second of each other, have put 3.5 seconds on the second group of cars, and just seeing a lot of distance. The longer you go, these green flag runs, these tires lose their grip. You got to change your driving style. Some drivers much better than others at doing so, and so this flag look to it. It's a 35 loose, but looks like lost momentum there. Jumps out 6th
Yeah, man, I was watching that. I went back and looked at it, and the 26 car, I mean, he just slid off the turn number 4, you know, a few laps ago. Slid, lost all his momentum. He got off the corner. He got off straight too. Much time, so much speed that the cars just freight trained him. So you see Marvin Termeyer Jr. That is Mike Shelton looking underneath the 6 of Jack Coleman. But the 6 lost so much time, and he was stuck on the outside after the 7 got around him. He was able to jump back in the line before the 24, and now he looks to make up a spot on the 6, who was just passed by Mike Shelton. How about Bobby Terrell enjoying the racing going on behind him as he runs away? He has worked himself up to just a little bit of a lead here, but that's got to be a cushion unless they can use the draft to run him down here.
Yeah, absolutely. He's getting, the farther he gets away, that time by just about 1 second, 200 shy of 1 second of an advantage for Bobby Terrell. And he loves watching those guys racing hard behind him because that gives him the chance of breaking that draft, at which point it'll just, without it being a factor, he just has to rely on hitting his marks and running the correct line. But as Mike Shelton 1 second behind Bobby Terrell, I believe that is close enough that he is going to get a pull. At this time by they cross the stripe, Shelton able to pull in about a 10th. And so this is one of those things about these bigger tracks that can be frustrating, is if you feel like you have the line down where you can figure it out. As the 26 gets way wide out of turn number 2, Marinac, that puts the 24 Marinac up into 3rd, puts Chad Coleman in the 6th back up to 4th. But just on these big tracks, that the 6 car gets really loose in the apron, able to save it. But these big advantages, you really need to stretch it out to be able to break that draft. Don't believe Bobby Terrell was able to do it there, although a 9/10 of second lead is something that's very beneficial to have right now.
I don't know. The 26, I'm watching Jose Gonzalez, and it just seems like he's off. He's missing the line. I think he saved his stuff a little early, and then he came on really, really strong. You saw him go through the field. I think he used his stuff up maybe too fast. Wasn't conserving long enough or enough throughout this run that it's costing him now. It's biting him, and he's falling back very, very quickly here as he's gone from 2nd now behind, I do believe, 5th position.
Yeah, easy to overdrive either the right front tire or the right rear tire. It seems tight on entry seems to be the trend, although when you watch these guys exit turn number 4, a lot of yaw for a lot of these competitors. I'm seeing it especially out of the 6 car of Coleman as I ride along with Jose Gonzalez, but the 6 car of Coleman just comes out at turn 4 quite frequently sideways, but it's working out. Jose is losing touch with the cars in front of him. Coleman trying to chase down Shelton and Marinac. And as we run deeper into this run, Marinac really coming alive. He was riding in 4th for quite a while, but now that 24 looking underneath the 34 of Shelton, unable to get there just yet. But Marinac is moving forward at 30 laps into this run. Seems like Marinac has a car that can compete with the 7 of Terrell, but right now he's got a 2nd to make up to get there.
Yeah, and I think Mike Shelton, he was kind of strange. He was unused to the not having draft thing. Now he's got kind of clean air in front of him, and I don't think he knows where to go with the car. I think he's still getting used to some of these guys. Cause he's not a name that I really recognize from the series. And you see now he's got the 24 of Stefan Marinac behind him. They're trying to make up some time, but really they're only losing time here. to Bobby Terrell. I think the 24's got to get around that 34 for anything to happen. And as I say that, the 24 now to the inside for second position, and I do believe he is going to take it. Overpowers the 34 into turn number 1. No problem. 24 to second place. First and second in points. Second and first on the track.
Yeah, Marinak looking very smooth, very consistent. Now he'll try to chase down the 7 of Bobby Terrell. But we notice out of a lot of these cars, as they get out front, then the car just becomes very biased to the right rear tires. Bobby Terrell, I think, gets really loose up there coming out of turn number 4, unless I just caught that strangely out of the corner of my eye. But Marinak now leading that almost of a second pack, you could call it. But when drivers get onto your rear bumper on these bigger tracks, it really loosens your car up. You have to be really careful on the throttle, really careful on that wheel. You don't want to turn too much, and you don't want to overpower the rear tires. And so, but Marinak right now looking really smooth, not getting too loose. I believe this lap he's closed the gap at least a tenth on the 7 of Terrell as they cross the stripe. Almost 2 tenths, a tenth and a half right there for the 24, fastest car on the racetrack that time by. As Bobby Terrell, though, working through some lap traffic, might be slowing him down.
Last time we were at Texas in this series, I do believe I called it the race. The 24 of Stefan Marinak was the race winner. He beat out Eric Brundys. Brundys had the better car. Marinak won it on strategy. Marinak had a very good car. They ran away from the field in that race, and I think you could see Marinak carrying over some of that success into this race. Different car kind of. I mean, there's been changes. There's been changes to the tire, changes, just to everything in general. But he's making it work. I think he's got the strategy down. He knows what to do here to get to victory lane. You gotta watch the 24 as he's running down the race leader, Bobby Terrell. That was nearly another 2 tenths last time by. We have just about 100 laps to go. 99 at the start finish line.
The lap traffic holding up Bobby Terrell up a little bit really helps Marinak kind of grab onto that draft from the 7 car, and down to just over half a second. We're looking at 65 hundredths of a second lead, 6.5 tenths from the 7 to the 24 of Marinak. Marinak simply chasing him down right now, and but Bobby has come out of this race pretty hot with leading a bunch of laps, and certainly wants to lock up leading the most laps, as we have gone 37 laps without a caution. And so the tires are worn. Draft means less. We see them splitting up even up front now. The top 5 cars just not too long ago were separated by half a second. Now it's 2 seconds. And Marinak that lap losing some ground on the 7 of Terrell, as a lot of lap traffic coming into play here as the longer we go. Some of these cars just not handling as well as the drivers would like.
27 cars started this race. They started from the grid. They were all on the lead lap. The 16 car is the last car in the grid. He's 27th, 33 laps down after his incident. Everybody else still running on the racetrack. Mike Perry, 3 laps down after his incident with the 16 and 26. Douglas Wyatt, 25th, and John Wilco and Frank Coons round out the 24th and 23rd positions. They are the only cars 1 lap down, but 22nd and all the way up to just about maybe 18th or 19th. They are really under fire here, as the leader has caught them and is working on lapping them. So they've got to step it up right now, as he's not very far out.
Yeah, and I believe Nathan Bauer is next up to go a lap down, but 3 seconds ahead of them. We have a heck of a battle stemming around the 18th position. The 09 of Ehlers, the 57 of Hines, the 43 of Roth, and the 78 of Keith Brooks Jr. all running together. And so when the leaders catch them in just a few short laps, if they are as together as they are right now, that could be pretty difficult to work your way through that pack. Might be something that Marinak could use to his advantage, as he has closed the gap that time by to just under half a second. So the 24 car clearly getting closer and closer to the 7 of Terrell, who has to be feeling the pressure, but doesn't want to let it get to him whatsoever. Terrell just doing his job, trying to do what he can to retain that lead.
I think Terrell's a smart man. He knows that pit stops are closing in. He's, dominated the first part of the run, and I think he knows he's going to have that first part again. He'll have time, and he'll be able to get it back from Terrell or from Marinak, or be able to keep it. I mean, pit stops have got to be close. We're 40 laps in, 41 actually, so we have, I do believe, about 95 to go. Going to be 94 at the start-finish line as we see the 7 car putting another car a lap down. That's Mike Perry. He's going to go another lap down. Maybe more damage than I thought he had, but he is now 4 laps down.
Yeah, Mike Perry actually decided to come down pit road after that incident when it happened. I thought that he might be able to get away and keep it on the track, but he came down pit road, took care of that damage, possibly had a little that he, possibly a damaged black flag that he needed to get taken care of. But the 24 really inching closer and closer to that 7 car. I believe he gained a 10th this lap, not sure. Good run out of turn number 4 for the 7 of Terrell as they got by 2 of those lap cars I was looking at. Still have Doug Roth and Barry Hines to work their way around. The advantage still remaining at just under half of a second. But as you mentioned, pit stops on the horizon. Now, if we were, this is a very big if we were to go the whole race green, it's a 2 pit stop race. I believe these drivers could make it another 10 or 15 laps at the most. More than likely, the pit window falling right around 58, 60 laps. Not sure that any drivers could go any further than that. And so this race has a green flag look to it. However, the green flag pit stops usually brings about the opportunity for a caution. These drivers have to keep it on the apron to the exit of turn number 2, and they want to get all they can on pit road entry as well, which can lead to some close calls and possible incidents. So I think you'll see the guys up front try to stretch it as long as they can because they don't want to lose a lap in case something does happen in pit stop sequence.
Yeah, I think, you know, strategy plays a lot into this. Marinac knows that. I think Terrell knows that. They've been up front at these 1.5 milers. They know what they need to do as they still run laps. Looks like the 7:24 almost evened out, kind of, as I look at the lap times, 30.6 to a 30.5. But it was actually rather close. So it was a very low 6 and a very high 5. So, you know, Marinac not making up near as much time as he was. These guys know what they're doing. I think it's going to be an interesting race, the rest of the race here, as we do have, I do believe, 90 laps remaining. Going to be 89 to go here at the start-finish line.
And Jose Gonzalez in the 26 just able to get by the 6 of Chad Coleman. Jose back up to the 4th position. We've got those 3 cars all within 0.3 of a second with each other. They're about 2.5 seconds behind the leader, Bobby Terrell. So Mike Shelton been solid just about all race. And you brought him up before. It's a name that you didn't really recognize too much with this series. I believe he just started a couple of weeks back. I remember seeing him run really strong in Kansas. And I think he ran Charlotte as well, possibly Talladega. This might be his 4th or 5th start in the series. And certainly showing a lot of muscle right now, gaining a little bit on the leaders those last 2 laps. Not enough to mount a charge, obviously, at this point in the run without gaining some time in the pit stop sequence. But Gonzalez seems to have found whatever he lost. The 26 of Gonzalez now looking underneath that 34 of Shelton, as it seems like maybe he needed to cool off that right rear tire or right front tire, just let it come back to him. And now Gonzalez moving forward once again up to the 3rd position.
Yeah, but it might be too late now, as he might have taken the spot, but he's still going to make up 2.5 seconds on the guys that are, laying down consistently, probably the best laps on the racetrack. Although he was fairly close, he actually was the fastest car on the racetrack last time by significantly, I do believe, but he also had draft, and it was actually not as much as I thought. He had a little bit of the leader. Marinac way behind race leader. Or by way, I mean about 600ths. I mean, still really close, but way compared to the lap times he was running.
Yeah, Marinac still staying about half a second behind, was able to close it about a 10th closer than that. Right now, Marinac something that Marinac might want to do is, as we inch closer to these pit stops, is stay behind Terrell so that he can catch Terrell off guard, possibly pit a lap earlier. Of course, if Terrell in the 7 car comes pit road a little bit sooner than the 24 expects, he can lose some time going wide through 3 and 4 to work his way around him. But there's a few things with pit strategy here that they could kind of work out, as Gonzalez in the 26 able to pull or close the gap by another 10th and a half of that lap, 2.2 seconds behind. Just a real late run charge for Gonzalez. Obviously, he's not going to get there before green flag pit stops start. However, maybe he figured something out with the line that he'll be able to use later in the race where he doesn't have that struggle in the middle of the run. But Marinak and Terrell currently out front. I'm not sure what the fuel window looks like for these cars, but I imagine it's within 8 laps. As Marinak actually a big run through 1 and 2. You saw him right on that wide line, carrying that momentum all the way through the center of the corner. Pulls right up to Terrell within about 0.2 of a second at this point, as our 2 leaders in the points running nose to tail.
Well, you're not wrong. He will not get there before green flag pit stop start because they have already started it. The 81 of Steven Almendo was on pit road lap 48, and I do believe there's a possibility that J. Randall Watkins just was on pit road lap 51 for him. He comes down. He'll now be scored in the 18th position currently as he is exiting. Falls back to 19th now as my scoring updates. 20th, and he's now just now coming off turn number 2 with fast cars approaching. He's got to go or get out of the way.
Yeah, this is a pit window where it's not like they have to stretch their distance to be able to save themselves from pitting in extra time. This is a situation where if you've lost a considerable amount of ground in this race, one of the things that you could take advantage of is short pitting. Putting those fresher tires on earlier than the cars in front of you, and you're able to really make up a lot of ground should the sequence cycle through. Obviously, it's a risk if there is a caution, but with the wave around rules, usually it won't end your race, but you might lose some track position because of it. But 50, this time by, we're going to start lap 55 for these leaders. Still no caution on the track as the 24 looks underneath the 7 of Terrell. That's a battle for the lead. First battle we've seen in about 30 laps. The 24 Marinak wants to get that lead and see what he could do. See if he could lock up the bonus point for leading the most laps. But he gets the apron, slides wide out of turn number 2, opens the door for the 7 of Terrell for the crossover. Terrell back to the lead.
Yeah, Terrell does not want to let that 24 lead a lap or multiple laps, and I think you can see that the 7 car taking every shot he can. He's going to try to keep the lead. 24, huge run off of turn number 4, gets to the bumper of the 7, nowhere to go. He's not going to have enough momentum to make a move, so the 7 is going to continue leading at Texas Motor Speedway as we are now completing lap 56. So we do have just around, I do want to say, 80 laps to go here at the Texas Motor Speedway.
And as actually is caution on the track, and Chad Coleman had just come to pit road, which is a tough break for him. I believe the caution was on the front stretch, saw someone spinning down there.
On Ehlers off of turn number 4, lap 54. He's going to have to check up maybe or slide up the racetrack to miss a slowing David Lanza, I believe, 33 machine, who was 10th. That's going to cost him as he just slides way up the racetrack trying to miss him. Out of the grip area, I guess. Out of the groove, it goes straight into the wall. He's going to try to save it. Comes across the front stretch, spins it again, collects the car. And I believe that was it for the 09 machine. I think that totaled the car, or the engine at least.
Yeah, the 09, a lot of times you get that late exit tightness, and it's hard to bring it back without completely aborting the corner. We saw him work his way above the 33 of Lanza, and once he hit that wall, it just sent him hard into the, just bounced him straight into the grass and then back onto the racetrack. Mark Bratcher is actually a car that got collected in that, sustaining some left front damage, which certainly you don't want any corner of your car damaged. But Chad Coleman, I'm not sure if he was able to bring it to his stall. He might have just driven through pit road and then just to keep himself on the lead lap, and then he's going to come down this time. A lot of lost track position for Coleman. However, it looks like only 13 are on the lead lap. Coleman is one of those cars able to stay on the lead lap. He was the only driver in the top 5 to bring his car down pit road, and now all of the lead lap cars working their way down pit road. So Coleman wanted to short pit, and exactly what we were mentioning not long ago, there is that risk of that caution making you lose track position, which is exactly what happened. As all these drivers on pit road going to take 4 tires and fill it up.
Yeah, 24 was up and down very quickly on the left and rights, and he's going to have a good run. But the 7 with the pit stall advantage, he's going to have that first stall. He doesn't even have to get up all the way up to speed, and he's going to win the battle off of pit road. So are our pit stops. We're going to go ahead and step away, take a quick commercial break on lap 58. We are almost there, just got to get to 135. So we'll be right back in just a moment with more racing action from the Texas Motor Speedway.
It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Travis, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4, and the checkered flag, he wins his first NASCAR high Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
We are now back at the Texas Motor Speedway, the Great American Speedway, as we get set to go back. Green flag racing on lap 60 of 135. As you see, I do believe we are split screen. You see the hard hit that the 09 took, but here we are getting set. The 7 car is going to lead us to the green flag. He beat out the 24 off the pits, did not speed, no penalty there. 26 really enjoying this. He's brought back up to the leaders. As here we go, pace car is off and the 7 has control. Green flag flies, he's away. He pulls away, gets a jump on the 24. Here comes Mike Shelton to the inside of the 24.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell waited until that green flag was thrown, trying to be unpredictable leading these starts. And Shelton, as you mentioned, a great start. Sometimes just that second position on these restarts, not the strongest place to be. Shelton able to put himself into the second position. Marinak probably going to look to get by him as soon as he can, but a good start for Shelton. As Jose Gonzalez, actually the 26, a few cars behind, so we have a caution on the racetrack. Turn number 3, I believe, the 44 is hard into the wall.
Yeah, it looks like they were too wide behind him, and all of a sudden somebody shot into the corner. Steven Almendo, 81 machine, he was 15th. He came into the corner just way too fast and got way too high. Comes up and collects that 44 machine, and that's going to put the 44 into the wall pretty hard. That should give him significant damage. I think the 81 is going to sneak away fairly clean from this incident.
Yeah, the 81 got in there just hard enough that he couldn't bring it down the racetrack. Didn't really sustain any damage. In fact, I don't see any damage, maybe just a paint scrape on that right front quarter panel. But the 81 taking credit for the caution. He'll start at the end of the longest line for the next restart. And one of the cars that I believe this helps is Chad Coleman had to start at the end of the longest line. I believe he had an end of longest line penalty for being on pit row when that caution came out, and so they lined him up in the back despite being on the lead lap. However, he makes up quite a bit of ground. Now he's going to be able to restart with the drivers that he's actually racing, as opposed to a lot of the cars that were not on the lead lap between him and the lead lap cars. And so Coleman in the 6th car, currently being shown in 12th, and he will come down pit road this time to get some fresh rubber, try to get any kind of advantage that he can on the people in front of him. But Stefan Marinak this time will be able to restart from the 3rd position. That might be exactly where he wants to be. Shelton now will have to try to get a good restart from 2nd.
Alright, a few things that have happened here. In 10th position, you look at that number 43 machine. That's Doug Roth. He was the lucky dog this last time. The Inside Sim Racing lucky dog. He is now into the top 10 after just having received his lap back, and we didn't even go maybe 3/4 of a lap there. And he's able to get up to 10th after, probably restarting probably around 15th or 16th, you would think. Except he did not have to start at the rear of the field. I do not believe he started with the lead lap cars. This time it was David Lanza who received the wave around the lucky dog, the Inside Sim Racing lucky dog. That should put him back on the lead lap, but it does. He'll be 17th, so now 17 cars on the lead lap. Everybody should stay out of here, and we should go back green flag racing very soon. You talked about Shelton. He's been very good on the restarts. I don't know about him being on the outside lane, but he should be a contender, and I think you got to watch out for him. The 24 car of Marinak, I think he's a little bit quicker in the longer run. That's what you got to watch out for. The 24 car, he really comes out of nowhere. But right now, I don't know that he's going to have a car that he can just run up and pass these guys. I don't know whether he's got the line down now that he's been through that run and he was coming to the 7 or what's going on. But it took him a while before, and it could do the same again. And how about Jose Gonzalez? He's now back up with these guys. I don't think he gained a spot. I think he actually lost a spot on that restart, but he'll now be on the inside. The lane you want, it seems like you want to be in on the restart, and he might be able to pick up a spot, if not 2, when we go back green flag racing here.
Yeah, Jose Gonzalez in the last restart was in 4th, and Brian Harvey, who restarted 5th on the inside line, was able to take the position away from him by being on that preferred line. However, the tables have turned. Now Jose Gonzalez will be restarting 5th, Brian Harvey in 4th. Harvey, the highest position that he has run all race, and Harvey has just been sort of a model of consistency. It seems like if Brian Harvey is in the race, he's running somewhere from 4th to 6th, more than likely. Just one of those really consistent competitors that is so close to winning a race here in this series. Currently running in the top 5, but a lot of these guys, we're going to have, I believe, 18 cars on the lead lap. After, actually, we have 17 on the lead lap with the lucky dog already going to Dave Lanza. But we're coming up on the halfway point of this race. We had a long green flag run to start this out. And 2 caution flags sort of disrupts the rhythm. Sometimes someone will lose their rhythm in their line because of some cautions, and others will be able to be more aggressive and take advantage of that. But a lot of interesting race in the making, because should we go green the rest of the way, you almost certainly will see some strategy come into play with that green flag pit stop, because guys might only go for fuel only or just right sides, because you will not need to fill the car fully.
These guys that go forward on the restarts, you're going to watch them. They're going to be really comfortable in the car. They're going to be really happy. They're making up these spots, and they're going to drive very smooth. I think they're going to make up good time in the long run. You see the guys that fall back, they're going to make a charge. So they might pick up a spot or 2, then they're going to fall back a little bit. You got to watch out for those guys that get irritated, maybe behind the wheel because they're not doing how they want to do, and they start driving a little bit more aggressive. You got to watch out for the aggressive drivers. You got to watch out for being aggressive on this restart. Tires are going to be a little old, mixed heat cycle. I mean, they only had like 3/4 of a lap, but we've been on 2 different cautions here, on these sets of tires, basically, plus 3/4 of a lap up to speed. That's going to shake things up maybe just a little bit. I don't know whether it's going to handle a little bit better, a little bit worse, but we will find out as we head into turn number 3. Pace car getting set to dive as soon as it gets off turn number 4, and Terrell will lead us to the green flag. Can the 34 hang on the outside, or will the 24 go ahead and prevail on the inside like it seems like everyone has done tonight? Here we are off of turn number 4. Pace car is now getting set to make that sharp left-hand turn. And here it goes. JD Webb, honorary pace car driver. He's off in. Bobby Tail takes the green flag. Gets a huge jump. 34 not quite ready, but he's not going to give up this second position really easily. Marinac side by side with the 34 machine. 34 hanging in strong. Now side by side in the turns 1 and 2. 24 with the momentum.
Yeah, Marinac able to take that second spot away. Big charge forward for the 26 Gonzalez, coming right up with the 24 Marinac. Actually looking low entering turn number 3, but doesn't make the dive. Stays behind the 24 Marinac. But that time, Terrell, the previous restart, went way late in the restart zone, right at the green flag. This time he wanted to be unpredictable, went really early, trying to, as the 34 looks underneath the 26 of Gonzalez, trying to get that third position. Looks like he will. The 26 gets really loose over the bump through 1 and 2. The 34 keeps it way low, able to clear Gonzalez, keeping it low on the racetrack right now as they go into turn 3. But the 24 of Marinac stalking his prey as he's right on the 7 of Terrell.
What the 24 did was a little dangerous. I don't think he ran the actual top lane, on the restart when the 26 was coming, and I think he might have blocked just a little bit. Thought otherwise. Didn't think the 26 was going to make the move. I think the 26 would have darted down even further. He would not have been able to make the turn, but the 24 would have blocked. And I don't think that the 26 really appreciated that. Then he had to give up the spot to the 34. Takes it back, and up front, the 24 looking to get the 7 if he can. Looks like he got up to him, fell back a little bit. 7 really hitting his marks as to where the 24 looks like he's bobbling just a little bit through and off of the corners here.
Yeah, Shelton had a good start, losing a little bit of ground on the leaders right now. As you mentioned, Marinac just pushing hard. He hasn't shown that short run speed as he comes up on the 7 of Terrell, but on the long run, certainly a lot of speed. But he's doing what he can, using what he learned in that first long run to see what he can do. Gets a really good run through 3 and 4. A little bit of a slide on the exit of 4. Seems like anytime you get a real nice 3 and 4, it just sets you up to get loose, where you have to be a little bit wary of that right rear tire. But Terrell, as he leads the race here and drives into turn 1 really hard, you see him yaw out kind of through the exit of turn number 2. That's something you have to look out for, because just leading will loosen your car up alone. But then you factor in leading and driving it in really hard, trying to distance yourself from your competitors, and that could put your right rear tire into a frenzy and really make it unhappy.
Tell you what, the 38 gets loose again. I think it's twice now off of turn number 4 in a row. He has been completely sideways off of turn number 4. That's the 38 of Mark Bratcher all the way back in 12th position. He went to the outside. He was inside the top 10, I think, but he's not anymore. He fell back in a hurry. 38 machine not handling well, and it's definitely not wanting to stick to the inside lane, it looks like. How about David Lanza? He sits in the 9th position, I do believe, as he has climbed his way through traffic, racing hard currently with the 6th Chad Coleman, who was running up front. Coleman looks to the inside, but Lanza started 21st up inside the top 10 as Coleman takes the spot. Lanza going to give it up, back up just right in line. Maybe the 6 can lead him up and they can grab a few more positions here as they keep coming. Looks like Coleman looking to make up a few more spots as Lanza kind of falling back a little bit to the guys behind him.
About a lap and a half ago, Coleman had one heck of a moment coming through 1 and 2 as he was side by side with the 15 of Rhett McBride. Coleman was able to save his car, but almost made contact with Lanza, who ended up shooting it on through the gap and taking the spot. But Coleman got his car under control, now looking to make up that ground on the 15 of McBride coming up on him. Now, that 6 car, you saw he was one of the car, he was caught on pit road when that caution came out, ending that long run. Had to come from about the 14th position, has worked his way up to 8th. Now that he's been able to restart with those lead lap cars and not at the tail end of the longest line. And these guys back here in 7th and 8th, as we look at the 15 and the 6, losing touch with the guys in front of them, but certainly the 6 car looking to make his way underneath that 15. Both those cars looking somewhat similar, both black Fords.
How about back up front? The 24 is on the bumper of the 7, and he's trying to make a move. He's looking low, but he can't get there. The 7, is hitting his marks. The 24 hitting his marks. They are almost dead even, but the 24 looks to have a little bit more momentum with the draft. 26 not out of this. He's a little ways back, but it seems like he's trying to catch up as fast and as quick as hard as they can, as the 7 and 24 still duking it out. 26 is running them down very quickly here, it looks like.
Yeah, the 24 putting a lot of pressure on the 7 of Terrell, trying to get him loose, and he might be successful at it, but Terrell able to keep his car pretty straight, retain that lead, but Marinak just applying all the pressure that he can, and as those two are just pushing each other really hard, Gonzalez, as you mentioned, really coming to life, chasing these guys down, and he is already there as Marinak gets really sideways through 1 and 2. 26 Gonzalez with a big run, looks low down the backstretch, not quite there. Don't think he's going to throw it low, which he doesn't. 24 holds on to the 2nd position. Now we've got a 3-horse race up front.
26 is coming, he's there. 24 knows he's got to go. 7 knows he's got to hold off both these guys. He wants to lead laps, he wants to get bonus points, he wants to get points, and he also wants to win the race, but he's got to stay high because the 24 is now underneath him, and the 26 is looking to follow. 24 slides up the racetrack, almost 3 wide. The 26 looks to the very inside. 7, huge run off, and it's the 7, 24, 26, and here's the 34 looking for the position on the 26. That was extremely fast. Big slip up, and it had big results.
Yeah, the 24 Marinak came over the radio, apologized. He accidentally downshifted, and what happened was he caught the apron listening to his onboard. He accidentally downshifted after clipping the apron. So as he tried to get on the binders and keep it off of the car above him, he downshifted, which was a really close call. Lucky the engine didn't blow up. But how this game works is a lot of time if you over-rev the engine, it basically goes into the equation of raising the probability that your engine is going to blow up, much like real life, I would imagine. But the 24 looking good right now, just throws it right to the bumper of the 7 car through 1 and 2. Now Gonzalez gets that big run on exit, looks below the 24 of Marinak, side by side for 2nd place.
You gotta watch out for engine damage, anything like that. The 24 could be hurting. I highly doubt it, but I've seen a lot of engines go that way, and that's something you definitely don't want to be in that situation there. Is now the 26 looks underneath for the lead. Jose Gonzalez side by side with the 7 of Bobby Taylor looking for the race lead, and here is Marinak looking to follow if he possibly can. 7 big time sideways, and here is Marinak now side by side with the 2nd place in points. I do believe Taylor has led the most laps of the race, and he might have locked that up, but he is definitely fighting for the lead now, fighting for 2nd as Marinak struggles. He got the apron, fell back a little bit, and that allowed Terrell to make a good run back on the outside, so Marinak has to stay low again heading into turn number 3. Meanwhile, Jose Gonzalez driving away from these 2 behind him.
Yeah, Gonzalez really wants to see these guys just race each other really hard. Marinak able to clear Terrell that time, pull a little bit of a gap. But now that Terrell's in traffic, it'll tighten his car up, and he's able to use that draft for some extra straightaway speed. And this has also brought a few of the guys behind him a lot closer through that loss of momentum through 1 and 2 a couple laps ago, where we saw Marinak really have a moment. That brings the 34 of Mike Shelton right into the mix, the 66 of Harvey, the 11 of Steven Maddox right up there, and also just not too far behind them, we got the 15 McBride, the 6 of Coleman. So all these guys are grouped together until there's a gap to the 9th place car of LeVere. But Gonzalez right now enjoying that lead up front. However, last lap, Marinak gained almost 0.2 of a second. That 24 car is just burning with the desire to get to that lead. As you mentioned, the 7 of Terrell, believe he has mathematically clinched the most laps led. However, obviously Marinak will overcome that by winning this race with those extra bonus points that entails.
And Terrell does not want to see that. Marinak is running down Jose Gonzalez really quickly, but don't count out Terrell. He got the draft, and all of a sudden looks like he might have picked up a little bit of speed. He's not far off at all from the currently 2nd place car, and he is faster than the leader. So the 7 car looking to come back to life. He's just got to hit his marks, get used to the draft. Maybe it is a draft lock. I think we mentioned that earlier. These guys are stuck together, especially these leaders. They have to hit their marks, and they have to hope that the guy behind them just cannot work the draft. Quite like, I don't know, some great people with the draft. I mean, you have to be able to understand how the draft is working here. 24 able to get a huge run off of turn number 4. Uses the speed down the straightaway to draft up to the 26. Slingshots by, pretty much heading into turn number 1. That's going to give the lead to the 24 car of Marinak, and that's Gonzalez back to second with Terrell back to third.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that we've seen Gonzalez be this race, it hasn't really been conservative. So you expect that 26 to really try to do all that he can to get that lead back. Marinak looking strong after he got that lead, able to put a couple of car lengths on that 26, running a really smooth line through 1 and 2. Slides a little bit wide on 2, a little bit of a right rear tire slide, getting a little bit loose as Gonzalez able to close the gap a little bit. And Terrell has been able to regroup through all this, close the gap a little bit. Terrell right now riding in third, certainly trying to make sure that his car is handling just right. Possibly got a little bit loose there as he was running so hard in front of Marinak, but these top 3 all bunched up. Shelton running good times behind them, just not quite able to get there just yet. But Gonzalez could be a spoiler in all this, and if Terrell is if Terrell ends up not winning this race, he certainly becomes a Jose Gonzalez fan, because he just did not want to give up the extra points that Marinak would be able to distance himself with.
Well, here's something he wanted to hear from the spotter. Fastest car on the track last time by, the 7 of Bobby Terrell. This time by, it looks like it's the same story because he runs a 386. Everybody else in the 4s, so he is on fire. The 7 car now looks inside for second position. He goes around Jose Gonzalez. Gonzalez falling back, and he's going to drop back in line in the 3rd position. Now Terrell just has to run down the 24 of Stefan Marinak, points leader and race leader.
And it's a role reversal, because if Terrell's able to get there right now, about 0.4 of a second back, they cross the stripe. The official tally is 3,800, so a close guess. But Terrell now wants to just do a complete role reversal and really put the pressure on Marinak to where he could get Marinak to overdrive that right rear tire. Terrell getting a little bit loose over the bump in 1 and 2. Now the 26 of Gonzalez is going to take advantage of that. Look low entering 3 and 4, so this is some lost ground for Terrell. Does not want to be running side by side with Marinak leading the race. Exactly what's happening right now is Gonzalez able to clear Gonzalez going down the front straightaway back into second position, and just hoping, you know what, if you're gonna take second place from me, let's just chase down this leader. It's what Terrell's thinking right now. But all these guys grouped together. Shelton hanging right there, and Harvey having the best run of the race for him, as he's just about 10 car lengths behind Shelton, hanging strong in the 5th position. But it's all Marinak right now, half a second advantage on the second place car.
What Terrell needed to do was have a spotter go to Gonzalez, his spotter, and say, hey, we're faster right now. Let us lead us up to the 24. Then we can race a little bit. Right now we've got to catch the 24, and he didn't do that. Obviously, there was no message between the 2 cars. They got a little racy there. 26 wasn't going to stay behind him, and that cost them a little bit more time. Now they have to run down the lead of the 24, and I don't know. It's a 26. Usually we saw him last time. He made up a lot of spots, a lot of the time, middle of the run, maybe kind of early on-ish, but maybe late early, I guess. But then he fell off pretty badly, and he was, two some seconds behind before he started making up time again. And that's what you don't want to see. The 7 car does not want the 26 to fall off right now, and they start losing time, big time, to the leader.
Yeah, and right now they were not able to gain too much time that last turn by. Gonzalez actually swinging pretty wide out of turn number 2, almost catching that wall. Didn't catch it though, didn't lose very much momentum, as I think this lap they have gained maybe about 1/10 of a second on Marinak, who's just looked too solid up there. As we complete lap number 91, that means 44 laps to go. We've had 2 cautions in this one. This race starting to have a green flag look to it once again. As that lap, the 2nd place car of Gonzalez, the 3rd place car of Terrell, able to gain a 10th. And so it just seems to be a tale of just these handful of cars where they've been battling hard most of the event. Really, no one Not real sure who could come out on top of this one. It seems like leading this race, eventually the guys behind you just chase you right back down and have the advantage on you. But Marinak, looking as strong as he has all race long and is the points leader, this is exactly what he wants.
Okay, well, looking to the field here just a little bit. How about Doug Roth? We talked about him being the lucky dog about two or three cautions ago. I think it was 2. He had been inside the top 10, has fallen back to 16th. He is the last car on the lead lap. Just in front of him, though, John Abbott, Tin Machine. He's running solidly in the 15th position. He is just about 9 seconds behind the leader, and he's got about half a second back to Doug Roth. Bratcher was inside the top 10. He's fallen back to 14th. How about Almendo? I do believe he was mentioned quite a bit earlier. He's fallen outside the top 10 into the 12th after making contact with Glenn Campbell. Lanza up from 21st to the top 10 position. He's in the 10th position. How about AJ Browning? He started back in 16th. He runs 9th. Stephen Maddox is in 8th. Chad Coleman recovering from being on pit road when the caution came out. He's back up to 7th. And Rhett McBride sits 6th with Brian Harvey sitting in 5th. Mike Shelton up to 4th. Bobby Terrell still sitting 3rd. And Jose Gonzalez 2nd. And still your leader, the 24 of Stefan Marinak. Jose Gonzalez now within 2.5 tenths of the race leader.
Yeah, I got to give a call to Rhett McBride, that number 15 car. He qualified 15th. It's been a steady climb forward. And a lot of times you get that caution where a bunch of people back up again. There's a few cars who have learned a thing or two about this track or just needed that track position to be able to hold on to that lead pack's draft. I say lead pack loosely in a place like Texas, but it's certainly an advantage. Rhett McBride, as we've gone deep into this run, has shown a lot of speed. One of the fastest cars on this track. McBride putting a lot of pressure on the 4th place car of Shelton, the 5th place car of Harvey as they're side by side in front of him.
Just about 40 laps to go, I think. So we're going to go ahead and step away, take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with the rest of the race here on ETV Live from the Texas Motor Speedway with the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series, sponsored by Inside Sim Racing.
Plus other listeners where you could hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV Live, sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com. If you're a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50 caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products reasonably priced at DerekSpearDesigns.com and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
We're back live at the Texas Motor Speedway, the Great American Speedway, with the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series, sponsored by Inside Sim Racing. We have just now crossed the line for lap 102 of 135. That means just now 34 laps remaining. of the race, and so this is definitely interesting. Jose Gonzalez back to third, Bobby Terrell up to second, and he has closed in on the leader, the 24 of Stefan Marinak.
Yeah, with the most laps led, I believe, locked up for that 7 car. Just 1 lap ago, able to get underneath Gonzalez. Now just 1 car length behind the 24. That's exactly who he needs to beat, who he needs to make up points on. And right now, the fastest car on the track is that 7 car. And now what I think we'll see him do is he's got some time on his side. 33 laps to go. Is the 12 car way up high against the wall. The leaders narrowly avoid catastrophe there. Gonzalez throws it underneath the 7 car, going to take advantage of that as the 7 tries to put it into the gap between the 26 and the 15. That could have been a really close call. Both those leaders had to check up for the lap car, and the big loser in that deal, not sustaining any damage, but losing position, is that 7 of Terrell.
How about Brett McBride? He's stuck up in the 4th, and he's now in this hunt for the lead. Bobby Terrell, I don't think he saw that incident, and he got into the back of the 24, I mean, significantly, just a little bit, but I mean, it was enough that it might cause a little bit of damage. It might heat up the car just a little bit more, and that's not something bad. That could actually, generate more heat, maybe more speed, almost like it has more tape, possibly more downforce. I don't know, for sure exactly what it'll do. I don't think anybody does, but you get a general idea as Gonzalez on the bumper of the 24, and here's the 7 looking for second. This car is flying, and he's looking for the lead, no doubt, as he's going to clear the 26 and take over the second position. McBride's going to go around the 26 as well. He's trying to follow, and how about, I do believe, Brian Harvey, 66. He's out the 5th. Fantastic run for the 66 machine. Mike Shelton has fallen all the way back to 6th position. 34 car falling off a little bit at the end of the run.
Yeah, Rhett McBride, that 15 car, he restarted in 8th, and his line had a rough restart. McBride actually coming from 9th or 10th all the way up to 3rd this run, showing a lot of speed. I mean, McBride is one of the fastest cars on the track the last number of laps. The 24 gets really loose on the exit of turn number 2. The 7 of Terrell looks low for that lead, and looks like he's got a good run on the bottom in that preferred groove. And what Bobby Terrell, the number 7 car, wants more than anything in the world is McBride to get a good enough run to keep his nose underneath that 24. Looks like the 24 able to clear McBride, but McBride still looking low entering turn number 1. Won't put it below that 24 car as they come through 1 and 2. Terrell back to the lead, wants to rack up that lead or laps led total even more, and wants these guys behind him to race as hard as humanly possible.
7 is loving this. This is like a freight train. The 24 could go to the back. He's going to jump in line in 3rd, right behind Terrell or McBride. But I mean, he was loving that. That looked like the 24 could have, fallen all the way back to just about, around 6th position, which is something he wanted to see. It didn't quite happen, but now he's got a mirror full of 15 cars. Time to go, Bobby. As Terrell comes off turn number 2, and now down the back straight away. He's got to hit his marks as a lap to wind down at the Texas Motor Speedway.
And I tell you, he's in a little bit of a surprise right now because he hasn't raced the 15 of McBride all race long. But McBride been one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, and he has a shot at this win. Right now we're looking at 27 laps to, 27 laps to go. Got to carry the 1 or something like that. But Red McBride with a strong run all the way through the field. He's passed 8 or 9 cars this run. Now trying to work his way closer to that 7 of Terrell. And between these two driving styles, you notice quite a difference in line. The 7 car of Terrell going for that wide arc on quarter entry, swinging it down, trying to carry that momentum. Meanwhile, McBride in the 15 entering considerably lower, pretty much 2 car widths lower, but it's working out. This is a track where certainly multiple lines can work. We saw an incredible race at Kansas a few weeks ago with multiple lines, not quite to that extent, but McBride, very different driving style. That time Terrell enters turn 3 a little bit lower, getting a little bit more defensive of that 15 car, which is absolutely flying behind him. This time by, it's going to be 25 to go.
Yeah, it's a matter of who's making up. Yeah, it's a matter of who's making up more time right here. As the 15 looks inside, and the 7's not going to have anything of it. Shoves the car down. We talked about this earlier in the race, or before the race. It was actually pre-race. I talked about, you enter low, and the car's going to turn. You got to brake a little bit, but if you enter low, hold the wheel straight, it's caution comes out, the car is going to turn, and that's what the 15 car was doing. As we had a few cars on pit road, I think it was about time for pit stops. I'm looking for the cause of the caution now, and I'm hearing the 7 car. That's not right. A 57 car, actually. Barry Hines is going to be the cause of the caution. Man, he takes a ride off of turn number 2. He was 21st, comes off of turn number 2, gets loose, tags the inside wall, sticks to the inside wall, spins out a little bit, does just a few spins, 360s, and he's going to drive away. Toe knocked out significant damage to the number 57 machine. I think that'll end his day with the amount of laps remaining in the race.
Yeah, Barry Hines in that 57 had a little bit of damage from earlier in the race. Might have been affecting the handling of that car in a negative fashion. But he came out of turn 2, just did that long slide. You're wanting to be able to throttle a lot here, and just got loose, and it just carried itself to the inside wall. I almost thought that we were going to get lucky and that he would stay spinning out on the apron to where the leaders would go by and it wouldn't bring up the caution, but then he got tossed off the wall back onto the bottom groove, and that's why the yellow flag is out. But we're going to see everyone come down pit road as they're at the pit road entrance right now, and I would be shocked if anyone took 2 tires, although with only about 23 laps to go, this might be a risk that they want to take. We might see a couple of guys go for 2, but I think 4 tires would be the winning move.
The only way is if we have a long enough run that these 2 tires even out and the 4 tires cannot get around the 2 tires. If the 4 tires pass the 2 tires, I have a feeling that the 2 tires do not stand a chance. But it's definitely got to be 4 tires. There's just too many laps left, I think, as we see just about everybody gonna do 4 tires besides the 15. Maybe 15 actually took 4, I think, and he's just gonna win the battle off of pit road. 7 comes out second. 24 is gonna come out third, with the 62 coming out in the 4th position. So that's going to shake things out. 24 gets a preferred lane, 7 does not. I think this is going to be one of the first times he started on the outside lane, and now he's got to get around that 15 car. That 15's been flying.
Yeah, that 15 of McBride, he was looking to take that lead during that green flag run right there. Wasn't able to get it done before the caution, but now I think he's on his radio offering bonuses to his pit crew as they got the job done, got him to the lead. We've got a few cars in front of these guys that I think will be looking to take the wave around, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, Chad Coleman passed pit road last time by. I think that might have been an accidental situation where he's not going to stay out here. Certainly he wants tires. But Coleman still staying out, actually. There might be some strategy going on here, unless I'm a little bit behind the radar here.
Well, let's clarify. This is Chad Coleman, not Chad Cole.
That is true. Chad Cole, the points leader in the Full Throttle Cup Series. Chad Coleman, he's Chad Cole with the man at the end, if that makes any sense.
And our actual Full Throttle Cup Series points leader has just snuck into the broadcast booth. I think he was checking out the Asphalt Series here, the Thursday night series for Real Sim Racing. Chad, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing all right. We're just really closing down on the laps here. Exciting racing going on. You could cheering for your teammates here. I think they've been in a little bit of trouble. Looking for your first teammate. I know Glenn Campbell's been in an incident, and you have David Lands in 13th.
Yeah, anywhere Dave goes, he's going to be competitive. And actually, he's not my teammate anymore. He's still my boy, though. Really pulling for him every week. Really like to see him do well, and just really enjoy watching these B cars race. I don't get to race them too often, so happy to watch and support RSR here at Thursday.
How far out of the loop I've been since I've been gone. And who are you looking for the win here? You've got the 6 car up front. He's actually coming down pit road. Then you got the 15, the 7, the 24, the 26, the 34, the 60. I mean, I can't count anybody out. Who are you looking for the win here, though?
Oh, man. it's really anyone's game, but I kind of like that 7, to tell you the truth. He's looking pretty tough.
Come Monday night, are you looking at the driver of the number 7 still?
Martinsville, you know, it's really a survival race. I'm not really sure who'll be there at the den, who'll be up top.
Alright, Chad, well, wish you the best of luck in your championship hunt on Monday nights in the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, which you can tune into at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We believe again Monday nights, ETVLive, ETV-eplay.net. But here we go with the Thursday night Asphalt Series, sponsored by Inside Sim Racing. We now work the backstretch side by side, getting set for the green flag. Lap 115, coming on 116 of 135.
Yeah, and Chad Coleman actually, after sticking out most of that caution, just brought it down, gets it to the pack right in time for the restart, but lost some valuable track position there. So he stayed out most of that caution flag, gets his 4 tires and fuel. He was actually on pit road just moments when the caution came out again, just 5 laps ago, so bitten twice in the same race. But the pace car is in, and Red McBride's going to leave these guys, goes on the green flag, waits pretty deep into that restart zone, and the 7 car is under pressure now because the 24 Marinac actually had that 3rd place starting position, which seems more valuable than the 2nd place, like it is at a lot of these tracks. Marinac going to clear Terrell. However, there's a gap for Terrell to put his car, and he's going to put it right behind that 24 Marinac.
Yeah, it just like it widened up enough, just enough that the 34 had given the 7 just enough for him to get down. 7 kind of takes it, comes back up for the straightaway, and he's going to be in perfect position. He's still in the hunt. 3 cars. You have the 15. He's been extremely fast the last run. You have the 24. He's the points leader. The 7, he is 2nd in points, and he's looking to win the race. He's led the most laps. He needs to make up points, and this is the only way he can really do it. In the closing laps here, the 24 makes up a lot of time on the 15. Huge run. 7 really wide off turn number 2.
Yeah, the 15 McBride still in the lead, certainly feeling the pressure. He has a car capable of leading, just overdrove turn 3 a little bit as the 24 Marinac threw it in there, but yawed way sideways coming out through turn number 4. Side by side for that lead battle, and with the 24, if the 24 Marinac able to clear the 15 of McBride, Terrell wants to be right there to come right with him. Well, we've seen Marinac actually grabs the apron through 1 and 2, and then Terrell as well follows him right into it. That seems to be a trend. Marinac using a lot of apron almost, accidentally just trying to give room to the car, the cars above him. As we have a smoking car at the bottom of the racetrack. That's the 33 of Dave Lanza. With the 7 car of Terrell, Lanza's going to bring it to pit road. We're going to stay green. The 7 car of Terrell back up to 2nd place with 16 laps to go. He's got some ground to make up as he's about 4/10 behind that 24 Marinac, who was able to get through all this back in the lead.
And McBride just got freight train. He's now been passed by the 34, and here's the 26 looking to pass. 15 backs out, gives the spot to the 26. He wants to make up spots, so he's going to get back in line to do that. Gets a little loose actually also as he tries to come off turn number 4 with a lot of company on the back bumper. That's at 55 of Brian Harvey up front. It is Marinac driving away. You talked about him clipping the apron through 1 and 2. Very prominent line. A lot of cars do that, especially in the Cup cars. As we have a spin at 1 and 2, caution comes out. This might change everything with just about 15 laps to go now. It was Hollis Vanderloon, and I do believe Chad Coleman, 6 car, he gonna get a pretty good bit of it as he ends up turned around. Was about 10th position for Coleman, and it's no longer that as he took a pretty significant hit into the wall. That's going to be quite a bit of damage, I do believe. As it was more like the contact he made with the other cars is then getting the wall, then driving backwards for a little while. I mean, he will have a decent amount of damage. I don't know that he'll be able to sneak back in the top 10, but we will see.
Yeah, Coleman in the 6 was getting held up a little bit by the 4 of LeVere, just as they were right on top of each other, and Bratcher entering turn number 1 just expected a little more momentum through there. Apologetic over the radio takes the blame for the caution, and so Mark Bratcher will start at the end of the longest line. Of course, Coleman, that's a little consolation for Coleman, I'm sure, at this point. His car heavily damaged. It's not been the race for that 6 car, and as we get ready and regroup for another restart, we're going to be about 10 or 11 laps to go on the restart, and Marinak is actually, I hear the 77 is around, his car is extremely damaged on the backstretch. It looks like as they were catching the pace car, he came in there a little bit hot. Someone else came in there a little bit hotter, actually got into the back. So the 77 and the 12 heavy contacts right there under caution.
That's not something you want to see. 15 laps remaining though now at the Texas Motor Speedway. 14 as they cross the start-finish line. So we'll be probably around maybe 12 laps to go when we take the green flag. This is going to be interesting. A little bit of heat, a little bit of a heat cycle in the tires. I would say the 24 going to have the good line. The 7 not so much. 34 who's been very, very stout on the inside, especially from the third position. He's going to be on the inside. And then you have the 26 again with the bad luck on the outside. He doesn't want to be there. And Rhett McBride last time was the leader on the restart. Not so much this time. Back to 5th position.
What this does for Rhett McBride, though, is he had all the pressure in the world on his shoulders as Marinak was driving extremely aggressively behind him to get that lead. Now is McBride running in 5th. His shoulders have nothing on top of them. All the pressure is relieved. He will be restarting 5th. If he has a good enough restart, he should be able to get to 4th relatively quickly, as that inside line is the place to be. Now Marinak is in a great position, and Bobby Terrell, who will be restarting on the outside of that front row, needs to simply have the restart of his life, because he can't afford to get stuck on the outside of Mike Shelton or get trained, to say the least. With only about 10 or 12 laps to work with, he wants to get to that inside as soon as possible and just put all the pressure in the world on that 24 car. And so the odds are in the 24's favor right now, but Terrell is not out of it by any means, just needs a good restart.
I would say so, and he's also going to have luck fall in his favor. The 34, it almost looked like it let him in last time. I don't know that it'll be so kind this time. He either has to slip up, or something has to happen to the 34, because the 34, he's in the hunt now. He wants to win the race. He hasn't been consistently one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, but he's been top 5 or top 6 the whole race. He's been a car that's been up there just kind of looming, just riding around. We've said it a few times. He's newer to the league, maybe adjusting some of the guys, but he's in position to get a win. So he's going to race for that win, no matter what the points are now. It's coming down to just about 13 laps to go, I do believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Shelton's been competitive in all 3 starts that he has competed in this series, and certainly you can't count him out, because the slightest slip by Marinak and Shelton will be right there, even if Terrell doesn't get the greatest restart. So it's a race of endless possibilities. Of course, if Terrell gets a rough restart, has to tuck in behind the 34. There's no one, who's to say that the 34 can't get underneath the 24, and then we have a battle up there. Then Terrell will be able to capitalize on that. And so this is just going to be one of those card games where you're choosing your moves as they happen. No one really knows what's going to happen. It's all dependent on how that restart goes, and then you could modify your game plan at that point. But the lights are out on the pace car. Gonzalez and Terrell the outside, Shelton and Marinak on the inside, and of course McBride can sneak up here and do some damage as well. Brian Harvey right now running in 6th. He's been running 4th through 6th pretty much all race, and so a shout out to him. And also AJ Browning, I believe he's been running just about 10th most of the race, got himself up to 8th after that Chad Coleman incident that brought out this caution. And Stephen Maddox back there as well will be restarting in 7th. So there's a few guys that have just made their way into the top 10 that want to keep that charge going. But going down the backstretch, we're getting ready for that restart. It's going to be with 11 laps to go.
Just 11 laps to go, like you said, as the field heads into turn number 3. Pace car is going to dive this time. Monterey pace car driver J.D. Webb driving that pace car as always. watching for the 34. He cannot get a good restart. It's you have your first and second in points here, running first and second on the racetrack. You know that they're going to battle hard, but you have guys that aren't in the points that are just kind of out of nowhere up here racing up front. They want the win. So, I mean, we'll see how these guys race and who actually wins here. As the pace car's off and the Marinac is away. 7 good run. He's going to clear the 34 and the 26. Jumps down and he's going to be in line. And this is going to be interesting. It's a 34-26 side by side into turn number 1. 7 looking to run down the 24 as quick as he can. 34 clears the 26, and just behind him, I do believe it is Stephen Maddox looking, or that's actually Rhett McBride looking to the inside of Jose Gonzalez, Stephen Maddox, and I do believe that is Brian Harvey racing side by side as well.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell got the restart that he so desperately needed. Gonzalez and Shelton actually made some door-to-door contact going on the front stretch. A lot of crowding going down there. They got it sorted out. McBride up to 4th. Bobby Terrell, exactly the restart that he needed. Now he can apply the pressure on the 24 of Marinac as Terrell gets really tight through 1 and 2, or exit of turn 2. You see with these heat cycle tires, as you pointed out before, less grip, more likely to overdrive it just a little bit. Just trying to figure out where that line is, where the line of that limit is. But Marinac able to extend the lead to about 7 or 8 car lengths as Terrell tries to regroup and chase him back down. But 9 laps to go. So Terrell just trying to hop back on his horse, mount a charge.
Big wreck in the back, I'm hearing. Still staying green right now. Terrell has got to be careful. He's got to ease on the throttle. Be careful as we stay green. Cars get turned around, get straightened out. 38 of Mark Bratcher involved. And the 18, I believe, involved again. Hollis Vanderloon. That's going to be the second caution he's involved in, as well as the 38. Or actually, the 18 just came off pit road, so it was not the 18. I apologize for that. But 38 again involved in an incident. Running 15th. He's side by side heading into lap 126, heading in through 3 and 4, comes off 4. 6 makes contact with another car, the 29. Bratcher checks out, 29 comes up the racetrack, and they make contact, but we stay green as they go through the grass. Bratcher spins, but comes back down to a stop on the inside of the racetrack. He is now pulled off. It is in behind the wall. We are still green flag racing as Marinac actually maybe staying even with as to the lead, the gap between those two cars as laps wind down, just 7 laps remaining.
Yeah, big mess down the front stretch. We remained green because by the time Bratcher went around, he was actually behind the pack as he started to spin, so the officials keeping it green. Bobby Terrell looking to close the gap. This time by, they take the start of lap 130. That is 6 laps to go. That time by, Terrell gained 0.03 of a second on Marinac. Marinac getting a little bit sideways out of the exit of turn number 2. Just seems like these cars are right on edge. A lot of yaw. I'm just noticing all race long. But Shelton is creeping into view. Mike Shelton in that 34 coming up on the 7 of Terrell, and Jose Gonzalez as well is up to 4th. He was able to get by the 15 of McBride after McBride was able to get by him, and so Terrell not closing the gap as much as he would like to. That time by actually losing 0.08 to the leader, Stefan Marinac. But all these guys running really close, second through 5th altogether. Then a gap back to CJ Lavere, who has put his way back up to the 6th position. Might be the highest he's run. It's been a surprisingly it's been a surprisingly quiet night for CJ Lavere, who usually finds himself in this lead battle. But Marinac is exactly where he wants to be as they take 4 laps to go.
Yeah, with 4 laps to go, I don't think that's 34. Even if he got around the 7, I don't think he can catch him. And that's what the 7 needs, either the 24 to lose the race, or he's got to finish second basically, because he wants to minimize or make it a minimal point loss, as he did lead the most laps, led a lap, as to where Marinac led a lap and will have won the race if he does cross the line in the first position. So the bonus points are going to play into this, and Terrell has got to make up as many points as they can. It was a 10-point gap coming in, and it looks like it's going to change as they leave the race, as they're running now with just 3 laps remaining. Going to be 2 to go at the start-finish line. Broke off at turn number 2 into the back straightaway, and now into turn number 3 as Terrell still not making up any time on Marinak.
Yeah, Marinak just needs 2 solid laps. He's going to need to make a mistake to let these guys come at him as he takes 2 to go. Remember, if the caution flag were to come out, the race would be over. No green-white checkers. And Terrell doing all that he can. That lap losing 300ths on Marinak. And so Marinak really just showing his muscle right now as Terrell gaining a little bit of ground, stretching his distance from the 34 of Shelton. And actually running, had a much better exit off of turn number 2 than Marinak. As we have a caution, and that's going to end the race. Steven Maddox is wrecking down the backstretch, so Marinak just needs to bring it around to get this lead. But the 11 car, that's a tough break. He was running in the 8th position, big wreck down the backstretch.
It looks like he and the 10 made contact. The 10 got to his bumper heading into 1 and got on the bumper as the 11 had caught the apron, got a little loose, shoved the 11 up the racetrack. Then the 11, the 10, the 11 pinched the 10. 10 had contact from the rear, kind of shoved up the racetrack, and the 11 gets shoved up into the wall, ends up rolling over end, basically, as he's going to barrel roll down the back straightaway, come to a complete stop with the engine blown. Tries to back up, and just has to call the tow truck. I believe actually he does drive away, but collecting more damage from another car. So definitely not the way he wanted to go out. He was running in the top 10. I do believe now comes out going to be probably 15th, if not worse here.
Yeah, that was a tough break because he did have a strong run going as the white flag has already fallen, and Marinak just needs to stretch it all the way to the start-finish line. He's going to get the win. I believe it's his 11th on the year, if I'm not mistaken, and going to make up some ground. Terrell led the most laps, but Marinak crosses the line, gets the victory, has 2 races left, and is going to have just about a 12-point lead. So extending that lead tonight, albeit just a couple of points for Marinak. The first race for that Ford Mustang here in the iRacing service in the Nationwide Series, we got a Mustang going to victory lane.
How about that? But right now we're going to go ahead and step away, take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with your post-race show and your winner in 2nd and 3rd place in just a moment. And we're back live at the Texas Motor Speedway with the Inside Sim Racing, or Real Sim Racing Asphalt Salt Series, sponsored by Inside Sim Racing. Got it right. We're here with the post-race show. Your winner, who just got finished burning it up on the track. That's Stefan Marinak, and he's standing by with Harrison.
Yeah, Stefan Marinak came in here with a 10-point lead, I do believe, and by my unofficial tally, I believe you extended it to a 12-point lead going into these final 2 races. And so I think Bobby wrapped up the most laps led in this race, but able to bring it home and get the job done. So run us through your race.
Yeah, it was just, at the beginning, it was all about saving tires, and it really paid off, picking them off one by one there near the end. And I thought I was going to go green. I had a strategy. You know, that green flag run ended the same way, again, by the same person. It gets kind of old every week, but awesome win, you know. Got those 4 tires on the inside on that last pit stop that we did, and we're able to get by Rhett and keep that clean air and get the first win in the Asphalt Assault Series for the Ford Mustang.
Yeah, absolutely. I was about to point out, first win for the Ford Mustang with only 2 races left, and certainly probably want to keep that mojo going and keep running that Ford next week over to Phoenix. And how do you like your chances at Phoenix? As we know, Bobby ran well at New Hampshire. However, you were able to get the win executing the strategy. And so how does the outlook?
I think we'll be good there. Last time we were there, we ran good. The pit strategy just really screwed us every time. I think, you know, whatever pit strategy we did the last time, it wasn't what everyone else did, and we got cycled back. But you know, we had good speed at New Hampshire. Bobby was the only one faster than us there, so you know, it's really similar to Phoenix, and I think we'll do good.
And I have to ask, had one heck of a scare coming out of turn number 2 when a lap car got into the wall. How much were you fearing for your life at that point?
Oh my God, I didn't know what he was doing. He's my teammate, and yeah, he was gliding up to the wall, and I started slowing down, and came right across the track. And later he said his wife was bothering him, so that's all right. You know, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Able to keep the car clean, keep it green, and brought it home with the victory. And so, who makes it happen for you? Who would you like to thank?
Hippie's Paint Shop, the main sponsor during this race. Axo Sanitary, Inside Sim Racing, Derek Spear Designs, and admins at RSR, and you guys at ETV.
It's tonight's winner. I believe the owner of a 12-point lead, if my math is correct, might be off by 1 or 2, but I believe Dakota has caught up with our second-place finisher, Bobby Terrell.
How about Bobby Terrell, the 7 machine? He led the most laps. He was so close yet so far, Bobby. I mean, it looked like you had it in the bag. You know, a few times. You had a great car. Then all of a sudden, here comes somebody else. And all of a sudden, you're racing back hard. It was just a back and forth night for you, but you were so fast all night long. I mean, it's going to be disappointing to come home second, even though it was still such a fantastic run by the 7 machine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed. I mean, tired of getting second. You know, especially when you lead the most laps. I felt like Stefan was probably quicker on you know, the short runs, and I was faster on the long runs, so I really didn't want those cautions at all. I mean, just like Stefan, I had a plan. You know, on that last run, I should have put more fuel in it, and I didn't, so that kind of cost me. But you know, other than that, it was a good run. I can't complain.
You're so close, you know, in the point standings. You're heading into the, you know, just maybe a race or 2 left, I think. What's the strategy? Are you going all out, or can you win this championship here?
Oh, I think I can win it, yeah. I mean, we're too close. I mean, you know, if he's got a 12 or 13-point lead, I mean, anything can happen, guys. I mean, you've seen it. You know, one bad race and it's over. Like I said, I haven't changed my plans at all, and I mean, I'm just trying to go out and win the races. You know, and that's what I've been trying to do.
And that trying to go out and win the races, it seems to be working fantastic for you. You come in, you're so close. You've made it such a gap. You had the points lead, I was told at one point. You lost it, but you're coming back again. Bobby, is there anyone you want to thank here real quick? Any sponsors, anyone like that?
You guys up in the booth for doing such a good job. Inside Sim Racing for sponsoring it. Hippie's Paint Shop, Derek Spear Designs. All my teammates that helped me. Can't thank them enough. And that's it. Appreciate it.
Bobby, you're 13 points behind Marinak. Just to clarify, officially the points have been posted on the Real Sim Racing website. You can find them at realsimracing.com. But Bobby, we wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season. I hope you can go out there and give Stefan a good run for his money. But now, standing by with the third place finisher, it's Harrison with Mike Shelton.
Yeah, it wasn't too many weeks ago that Mike Shelton came into the RSR series, running this the Thursday night Asphalt Assault series. I believe tonight was his fourth start. Also has 4 starts in the Midnight Thunder. And what Mike has shown these guys is that he can get up there and race with these guys. I don't believe he's won a race yet, but Mike showing a lot of speed, a lot of muscle tonight, coming home with a third place finish.
Yeah, had a good run tonight. Really wasn't expecting to get third. Midway through the race, I was thinking it might be a 5th or 6th place car, but that last caution we got, the last 2 we got, I was real good on the short run and not so much on the long run. So that I gained a few positions there, and thought I might have got Bobby there for second and could have got up to the lead, but there just wasn't enough laps left, and because of the championship, I didn't want to figure by the time, if I could get gotten by Bobby, Stefan would have been gone. So I just stayed in line and was hoping they could make a race of it to the end.
Yeah, that Skull Bandit car, definitely notice it running up front pretty much every week that we've seen you here. And look at these final 2 races at Phoenix and Homestead. Don't believe we've seen you run on one of those shorter tracks. How do you like those shorter, flatter tracks?
Well, my strong suit's 1.5 miles, so I really don't know what to expect going to a short track against the competition here. There's all these guys are real good drivers, so I expect to probably not have as strong a showing as I have on these 1.5 mile tracks.
And then the season rounds out at Homestead. Certainly expect you to see you in the mix, but a strong, a solid podium finish. And who makes it happen for you? Who would you like to thank?
Oh, my teammates, Inside Sim Racing, you guys at ETV.
Tonight's third place finisher, Mike Shelton. And Dakota, just a crazy evening tonight. We saw quite the battle for the lead all race long, a lot of green flag runs, a couple of cautions, making some shorter stints at the end. But quite a spectacle to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I love the 1.5 mile tracks, anything like that, anything similar, the form, the shape of the track, it always provides great racing, kind of a draft white, but I thought it was fantastic racing, interesting, down the last lap, caution comes out to end the race, and that's still not disappointing. I mean, it was still, a fantastic race overall. It was like 3 or 4 cautions, which is not bad at all. Great green run at the beginning of the race. I think we saw one throughout the race, towards maybe kind of middle late. A few cautions at the end, but it was all right. I can't wait to see what happens the rest of the season. We'll be watching, I do believe. But I tell you what, I think that's all the time that we have here for tonight. Thanks for tuning in and watching the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series, sponsored by Inside Sim Racing, Derek Spear Designs, race at Texas Motor Speedway, the Great American Speedway. We'll catch you next time.
Network. Join 5,000 plus other listeners where you can hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETVLive, sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks. HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com.